What if your habits could literally reprogram themselves with the help of AI? Imagine an app that doesn't just track your goals, but understands your behavior better than you do. Every time you scroll too long, skip a workout, or lose focus, it learns, adapting your routine, predicting your weak spots, and guiding you back on track. We've all tried building better habits through willpower alone, but what if the secret isn't more discipline? It's smarter systems. This is how artificial intelligence is quietly reshaping the science of self-improvement. If you're ready to rewire your habits and your mind, like the video and subscribe for smarter self-improvement. We've all been there. You start a new habit full of motivation, a fresh morning routine, a journaling streak, a workout plan. The first few days feel powerful. You're in control. You think, this time I've got it. Then life happens. A stressful day, a late night, a small distraction. You skip one session. Then another. The guilt creeps in. Suddenly, the same brain that once said, I can do this, now whispers, why even try? This is the silent loop of modern self-improvement, motivation, failure, guilt, restart, over and over again. And each time you fall off, it gets harder to believe in your own consistency. The truth is, you don't fail because you're lazy or unmotivated. You fail because your system isn't adaptive. Your brain wasn't designed for rigid routines. It was built for survival, constantly scanning for novelty and reward. Meanwhile, the world around you is engineered to hijack that same system. Notifications, dopamine traps, algorithmic feeds, all competing for your attention, reshaping your focus before you even notice. So when your willpower collapses after a long day of distractions, it's not weakness, it's biology. You're trying to win a war using habits designed for a world that no longer exists. That's why traditional methods, planners, habit trackers, productivity hacks often fail. They assume you're static, predictable, but you're not. You're dynamic, emotional, and constantly changing. Imagine if your system could change with you. If your tools could sense when your focus was slipping, when your motivation was dropping, and guide you, gently, back on track. That's where artificial intelligence steps in, not as a replacement for discipline, but as an adaptive partner, a mirror for your habits, capable of learning how you work. Every habit you form, good or bad, is built on a neurological loop. Cue, routine, reward. Your brain runs on prediction. It learns to associate an action with a dopamine spike, reinforcing the pattern. That's why checking your phone just for a second feels automatic. Your brain has been rewired to crave that instant hit of novelty. But here's the catch. The human brain is incredibly efficient and incredibly stubborn. Once a loop is formed, it doesn't care if it's good or bad. It only cares that it's predictable. That's why breaking bad habits feels like swimming upstream. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for discipline and decision-making, has to fight against the limbic system, the emotional core that's constantly chasing comfort and pleasure. This battle drains mental energy. The more decisions you make, the weaker your self-control becomes. Psychologists call this decision fatigue, and it's one of the main reasons why people abandon new routines. By the end of the day, your brain is too tired to resist temptation, and that's when you relapse into old patterns. Now imagine if you had a system that could monitor these fluctuations. Artificial intelligence thrives where humans struggle, pattern recognition. An AI can detect subtle behavioral changes, track dips in motivation, and even predict when you're most likely to break a habit based on your historical data. This is the foundation of adaptive behavioral modeling, using data-driven algorithms to understand not only what you do, but why you do it. Instead of punishing you for slipping, the system learns your rhythm, when you focus best, when you procrastinate, and what triggers distraction. Let's break it down neurologically. Every time you act, neurons fire together, forming new pathways. That's neuroplasticity. But neuroplasticity doesn't care whether the pattern is helpful or destructive. The more you repeat a behavior, the stronger that circuit becomes. That's why consistency, not intensity, is the real key to change. AI can enhance this process by automating feedback loops, reinforcing productive actions before your brain has the chance to fall back into old habits. Think of it as externalized self-awareness, a digital mirror that reflects your behavior in real time. Here's the deeper truth. Humans are terrible at self-assessment. Cognitive biases, like the optimism bias, "I'll do better tomorrow," or the planning fallacy, "This will only take 10 minutes," make it almost impossible to objectively evaluate our habits. AI, on the other hand, is brutally honest. It doesn't care about your excuses, only your patterns. That honesty is powerful. It replaces guilt with clarity and confusion with strategy. You stop asking, "Why do I always mess this up?" and start asking, "What can I adjust to make success easier next time?" When humans and AI work together, the goal isn't to replace intuition, it's to refine it. The machine gives you data, your mind gives it meaning. So how does this actually work in practice? Let's talk about the tool, an AI-powered habit tracker designed to do what our brains struggle with most: detect patterns, predict behavior, and keep us consistent without burning us out. Apps like Reclaim AI, Habitica, or even custom-built AI trackers integrate directly with your calendar, your to-do list, and your digital routine. They quietly observe your behavior: when you complete a task, when you postpone it, when your productivity peaks, and when you tend to drift. Over time, they begin to understand you. Instead of using guilt-based reminders, like "you missed your workout again," these systems operate on reinforcement psychology. They analyze the rhythm of your habits and insert micro-adjustments that align with your brain's reward system. For instance, if you consistently lose focus after 2 p.m., the AI might reschedule your deep work sessions for the morning and prompt you with short recovery breaks in the afternoon. It's not punishing failure, it's optimizing flow. The real magic happens in the data feedback loop. Every time you act, or don't, the system learns. It notices trends you'd never spot on your own. Maybe you're more consistent when you sleep before midnight. Maybe your motivation spikes after social interactions. Maybe you perform best with background sound or short sprints instead of long marathons of focus. The AI takes these fragments of information and turns them into actionable insights. Here's why this works on a neurological level. Your brain's motivation circuitry is driven by dopamine feedback loops, small, measurable hits of satisfaction that tell your mind this action matters, do it again. When we build habits manually, we often delay rewards too far into the future. Work hard now, feel good later. But the brain doesn't wait for later. It needs instant feedback to stay engaged. AI habit systems replicate this instant gratification, but in a healthy way. Each time you complete a task, the app delivers a micro reward, a digital celebration, a progress bar, a small dopamine spike. This constant positive reinforcement trains your mind to associate effort with immediate satisfaction. Over time, that loop becomes self-sustaining. Another reason it works: cognitive offloading. Humans have limited working memory, roughly 7 chunks of information at once. When we try to track everything ourselves, water intake, gym schedule, work projects, mindfulness, sleep, we overload the prefrontal cortex. That's when discipline collapses. The AI acts like an external hard drive for your executive function, managing the structure so your brain can focus on execution. Some tools like Motion or Reclaim AI even integrate predictive scheduling. They analyze your task list, estimate the cognitive load of each item, and automatically rearrange your day based on energy levels. Instead of you deciding when to do something, the system creates a schedule that flows with your natural attention cycles, and it goes deeper. With continued data collection, the AI starts predicting not just when you'll break a habit, but why. Maybe your focus dips after a stressful meeting, or you tend to snack more when your sleep score drops. Once it identifies these behavioral correlations, it offers precise interventions. Small nudges like, take a 5-minute walk before your next call, or delay that dopamine hit until after completing your deep work. This approach shifts habit building from discipline-based to design-based. You're no longer forcing change through willpower. You're engineering it through structure and feedback. And this aligns perfectly with how the brain evolves, through consistent, adaptive reinforcement rather than sudden, forced transformation. The result? You feel less resistance and more momentum. Habits stop being something you have to remember. They become something your system remembers for you. The AI doesn't replace effort, it amplifies it, guiding your energy toward actions that make sense for your unique neural rhythm. In essence, the app becomes your second mind, one that learns your patterns, respects your limits, and rewires your routines to make discipline feel natural again. I decided to test it for myself. 7 days, one goal. Let the AI take control of my habits. No manual planning, no complex systems. Just me, my routine, and an algorithm watching everything I do. Day 1 felt strange. The app started, sending me notifications that were eerily accurate. You've been scrolling for 12 minutes, take a reset. It was right. I had drifted off my focus block without even realizing it. At first, it felt invasive, like someone was peeking inside my brain. But then I realized this wasn't judgment, it was awareness, something I usually lose halfway through the day. By day 3, the patterns became impossible to ignore. The AI had learned that I hit a productivity wall around 2:30 p.m., so it automatically rescheduled my deep work for mornings. It even inserted 5-minute walks between tasks to reduce fatigue. I didn't have to think, just follow. The result? I wasn't working harder, but I was finishing more. Of course, it wasn't perfect. On day 4, I ignored the prompts completely. I wanted to prove I could do it alone, old school discipline. But by evening, I was back in the same cycle. Too many open tabs, zero progress, endless self-criticism. The next morning, the appy suggested something simple. Lower task load by 10%. Optimize for consistency, not perfection. That hit hard. I realized the AI wasn't just tracking my actions. It was understanding my limits better than I was. By day 6, something shifted. The constant fight, the mental push to try to be productive, started fading. Tasks began to flow naturally, like they were happening through me, not against me. When I lost focus, the AI caught it early and redirected me before it spiraled into procrastination. When I completed a streak, it acknowledged it instantly, giving my brain that subtle but powerful dopamine hit, a reminder that progress was happening. At the end of the week, I looked back at the data. My completion rate had improved by 37%. But more importantly, I felt lighter, less anxious about managing everything. The noise in my mind had quieted. It wasn't that I had suddenly become more disciplined, it's that discipline was no longer required in the same way. The system had removed friction, and my brain responded with clarity. That was the biggest insight. Consistency isn't about control, it's about alignment. When your environment, your tools, and your brain are all speaking the same language, change stops feeling like a battle. It starts feeling like flow. 7 days, one AI. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was chasing progress. I was simply living it. Discipline isn't about control. It's about creating intelligent systems that support you when your motivation fails. The truth is, no one can rely on willpower forever. It's a limited resource, constantly drained by decision-making, distractions, and emotional stress. What keeps progress alive isn't force, it's structure. It's having a framework that remembers your goals when you forget them. This is where technology becomes something more than a tool. It becomes an extension of consciousness. When used intentionally, AI doesn't replace your awareness, it amplifies it. It tracks what you overlook, highlights the blind spots in your behavior, and teaches you how to design a life that fits your brain, not the other way around. We often think discipline means restriction, saying no to everything. But what if it's really about direction? About designing an ecosystem around you that makes the right action the easy one? That's what these systems do. They take chaos and turn it into clarity. They don't judge your failures. They learn from them and guide you toward balance. And that's the future of self-improvement. Not forcing change, but engineering it. Not fighting your brain, but working with it. When your digital tools become partners in your growth, your progress accelerates naturally. You stop chasing motivation and start building momentum. Because habits aren't random. They're the architecture of your identity. Every time you repeat an action, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. And when you use AI to align those actions with your deeper goals, you're not just upgrading your routine, you're upgrading yourself. So here's the truth. You don't need to be more disciplined. You need systems that make discipline effortless. You need awareness that's constant, feedback that's honest, and technology that supports your evolution instead of distracting you from it. Rewire your habits, and your identity will follow. If this video helped you see discipline in a new light, like the video and subscribe for smarter self-improvement through AI, neuroscience, and human behavior. Focus Rewired. Reprogram your brain. Reclaim your focus.